Namaste friends, I am Dr. Vikrant Singh Tomar, Global Convener United Consciousness. Mahatma Gandhi once said, be the change that you want to see in the world. World has always seen two forces. Forces which unite us together and forces which divide us. And there has been two approaches towards these forces. Either criticizing what is wrong or contributing in establishing what is right. United Consciousness is a global initiative of Project Self to contribute and establish divine beyond divides with a mission of one consciousness, one being, because it is the same blood that flows in all. It is the same water that nourishes us. It is the same air that enriches us. It is the same earth that holds us. Same space envelops us. When a tiny virus doesn't discriminate between us, let's not let any mental virus divide us. Let's not discuss what happens before birth or what will happen after death. Let's focus on what happens after birth and what should happen before death. How should I live and lead in accord with my true nature? Maharshi Patanjali has established a divine scripture called Yoga Sutram, which talks about me identifying my own true nature, the philosophy of oneness, philosophy of union, uniting mind, body and soul, uniting me, you and all. Because when there is chaos inside, certainly there will be conflict outside. When there will be peace inside, there will be prosperity outside. Yoga Sutra establishes a grand model of 8 steps towards an ideal world. First step being yama, restraints, purifying my external behavior towards others and fellow beings, creating an ethically high society. Second, observations, niyamas, purifying my internal behavior, my understanding towards myself, making me an elevated individual. Then asanas, making a physically fit world with a purified body, a world with no disease. Pranayama, breath regulation, leads to purification of breath and regulation of mind. Pratyahara, sense control, leads to purification of sense and a non-distracted mind. Dharana, concentration, ability to focus on any object at my own will, leads to purification of mind and a focused mind. A regulated, non-distracted, focused mind certainly assures high quality of life. Then dhyana, meditation, ability to focus deep and long, leads to purification of I-ness, leads to culminates into fixing mind on my true purpose of life. And finally samadhi, absorption, purifying self and absorbed in my own purpose of life, reaching the goal of life. Yoga envisages a world where I am individually elevated with niyamas. We establish an ethically rooted society in yamas, physically healthy society with asanas, mentally peaceful world with pranayam and pratyahara, spiritually elevated world with dharana and dhyana, and enlightened being with samadhi. Then only there will be Ram Rajya established. Kingdom of heaven will be established, and that will be a real promised land. So dear friends, United Consciousness invites all of you together between 18th to 26th of June to contribute and witness one of the world's most diversified yoga event, International Yoga Week celebration. Sit back and witness one of the grand masters of yoga philosophy, life coaches, dancers, practitioners, meditators coming together on a common platform from more than 120 countries of the world to contribute in establishing divine beyond divides. So sit back, relax and enjoy and witness and get benefited by this grand event. I would like to extend my thanks to European Yoga Federation, AYT Australia, Yogismo International South America, Project Self Incorporation USA, Spiritual Council in Africa, Siddhashram, Yoga Vidya Germany, Yogalam, World Movement for Ayurveda and Yoga for having contributed in this event. Thank you very much.
Project Self, a non-profit organization that stands for empowering humanity with essential life skills for building a strong foundation for lifelong wellness. Our programs help individuals to gain better health, emotional intelligence, and spiritual awareness. Classes include kids yoga, adult yoga, mindfulness meditation, and scriptural studies. Yoga for kids are designed to keep the kids as kids, resilient, focused, and fit. Kid-friendly program focus on their social and emotional well-being.
The ultimate solution prescribed by Krishna is the self-knowledge, because only with the self-knowledge all our sufferings and problems can be removed.
Understanding and learning scriptures will help you lead a life with its full potential. It will help you to find peace, happiness, and contentment in life. Yoga for adult focus on physical postures that bring balance, flexibility, and body awareness. Carefully crafted program covers different aspects of meditation that bring body-mind relaxation and other powerful benefits including stress reduction.
Being a part of Project Self for over 5 years has not only given me so many physical benefits from doing yoga, but also many mental benefits from learning about mindfulness, wellness, and how to de-stress.
Pranayama class has helped me learn proper breathing technique, and the meditation class has helped me focus my mind better.
I am learning Vedanta as well as Bhagavad Gita to connect myself to the spiritual world as well as to understand the real meaning of this life.
The knowledge is one which liberates. Akshara Kids Academy is a mission to enlighten the little noble souls. It is an initiative to provide the virtuous knowledge to kids by inculcating Vedantic learning pattern with modern teaching techniques, with a vision to provide a world-class education focusing on the key human values of harmony and love, ethos and wisdom, conduct and ethics. We value education which provides enlightenment. We value making positive contribution to society. We value in child enrichment. We value boredom-free education system. Our academic structure is based on Panchakosha model, focusing on all 5 koshas. We focus on 8 limbs model of yoga. We provide modern education by focusing on motor skills, brain architecture, emotional intelligence, memory development, and logical reasoning. In God we trust. Life is a yajna. My first step towards enlightenment. When there is meditation, there is no need of medication. One track mind by mantras. Respect for our roots. My nation is my pride. Yajna towards Ma Prakriti. One in all and all in one. Family that lives together, eats together. The 2 pillars of my life, mother, father. the pillars of my success, my Guru. India lives in me, unity in diversity. One conscious, one being. Akshara Kids Academy strives to shape the future of unprivileged and underprivileged kids having urge of learning. Kindly lend your hand too in this yajna.
Lord Buddha has rightly said, just as in candle cannot burn without fire, man cannot live without a spiritual life. Our honorable speaker truly justifies the quote as his life is an inspiring journey for every person out here who would like to embrace spiritualism into their lives. Welcoming Sri Rajesh Rabindranath Ji with an heartfelt applause. He is a known expert of Vedanta, scriptures, yoga, and modern management. He has a keen inclination for Vedanta and scriptures since graduation. And his deep interest in spirituality took him on a never-ending journey of self-awareness and self-awakening. To attain his spiritual goal, he addresses in various programs, conferences, seminars in New Jersey, USA on Bhagavad Gita and Vedanta, to bring out the message of Vedic scriptures in the light of modern science and management. He is also an esteemed co-founder of Project Self USA and is on a mission to enlighten, prepare and grow people spiritually and guide them to understand and follow the real meaning of life. I am so privileged to welcome Sri Rajesh Rabindranath Ji to enlighten us with his deep and life-changing message.
Namaste. My salutations to all the yoga seekers around the world. I'm so happy and honored to be part of this grand conference with an objective of bringing that larger dimension of yoga. As you all know, this International Day of Yoga has changed the perception on the scope and the dimension of the yoga considerably. I know very well before 2015, the yoga was perceived as a simple means of physical fitness. Right now, the conferences like this and the program organized around the world as part of this International Day of Yoga helps to give us at least that awareness about that larger scope of yoga. So with this, let's jump into the topic given to me. So today's topic given to me is avidya, one of the most important idea or the concept in yoga. Friends, let's pause and think for a minute, because the scope of avidya, again, always people used to misunderstand. Vidya means knowledge, etymologically. Avidya means ignorance. So when you say avidya, this avidya with respect to what? For example, I don't know about nuclear physics. That means I have avidya towards that particular subject. So what exactly is the scope of avidya we are talking here in the context of yoga? So that's what we wanted to cover in this next 15 minutes. As yoga seekers, all of you know the real goal of yoga. It's not just a means to improve your physical fitness or getting into shape. Definitely that is there, but there is a larger goal. As you know, the larger goal of yoga is to get into a perfectly balanced state of mind and eventually know your own self. Because based on the vision of all the Indic darshanas, whether it is Sankhya, Yoga, Vedanta, the ultimate solution for the human suffering is knowing your own true identity. And that is exactly is the ultimate goal of yoga. And yoga prescribes a set of sadhanas for us to transform into that state from our current state of suffering. In this path of yoga, Patanjali Maharshi identifies some obstacles. These obstacles are known as kleshas. The Yoga Sutra, second chapter, third verse clearly identifies what exactly are these impediments or obstacles in our path of yoga. He identifies 5 impediments. They are avidya, asmita, ragadvesha, and abhinivesha. These are the 5 blocking or obstacles in the path of yoga, and avidya is one of them. So the first point is the topic we are going to discuss here, avidya, is one of the obstacle in our path of yoga. In fact, the scope of this avidya is little larger compared to the other 4, because the Yoga Sutra, the Sutra 2.4, clearly articulates the fact that it is the avidya that is the breeding ground for all the other 4 impediments. So, what is this avidya? The Sutra 2.5 clearly defines what is this avidya. Patanjali tells Anitya, Ashuchi, Dukkha, Anatmasu, Nitya, Shuchi, Sukha, Atmakhyatir Avidya. This is the actual definition of avidya from the manual of yoga, Yoga Sutra. Instead of going here and there, I would like to focus exactly on the definition given by Yoga Sutra. So the Maharshi Patanjali's definition on avidya is very simple and very systematic. He said, Anitya, people see Anitya as Nitya. That is, there are 4 things he tells. The first one is treating Anitya as Nitya. What is Anitya? Impermanent. What is Nitya? That is permanent. So let's try to understand what is the impact of avidya there. See, when we look at our body, we all know that it is impermanent. Maximum life expectancy of a person is 120 years at a stretch. But definitely it will come to an end. Any object you perceive in the world, whether it is sun or the moon or the star, or the plant, animal or human, anything in the world, there is an end. None of the objects you perceive in the world is permanent. But somehow we have a feeling that it is permanent. We feel that our life is permanent. We never think about the fact that one day we have to say goodbye to this world. And we always think that our health is permanent. We always think that the relationship is going to be permanent. We think that all the state of good experience are permanent. But the fact is that whoever you are, even the Avatara Purushas, means they also have to go through suffering. So the first problem of avidya is we always take impermanent as permanent and try to, with that expectation, when you get into the world, that will cause a lot of stress, strain, anxieties, and worries. So that is the first definition. Anitya, we take the anitya as nitya. The second one is you take the ashuchi as shuchi. You think what is the most purest thing? You take the impure things are pure. Impurity here means you think something as the most fundamental thing. What exactly is your understanding about yourself? You think yourself as the body and the mind, and practically you take it as pure. You think that your mind is pure, your body is pure, but they have a lot of problems. Your mind may have a lot of negative tendencies, but we never understand our own mind. That is the second problem. We take the impure as pure. We try to see problems with everybody else in the world, but we fail to understand our own mind. What exactly is driving our actions? What exactly is driving our feeling? What exactly is driving our speech? It is all determined by the quality of your content of the mind. If your mind has wrong values, wrong thoughts, and wrong vasanas, your actions will be driven from that. And we try to see that problem with everybody else, but we fail to see the impurities in our mind. So that is the ashuchi. We take the ashuchi as shuchi. The next thing is you take dukkha as sukha. Because If you take each one of us, right, our goal of life is to find happiness. Every action we do means whatever we do from womb to tomb is in search of that happiness. But most often we think that we are going to gain happiness by acquiring or possessing certain things or getting rid of certain things. But sit for a moment, right? Close your eyes for a moment and think. Whatever you thought as the most source of happiness in your childhood, you would have achieved that goal. But think about your mental state. Are you really happy? Are you really contented? No, the problem is by acquiring and possessing, yes, it can make you comfortable, but it will not make you happy. Please, we hear the goal is not to say that you should not acquire or possess, but don't have the wrong expectation. By gaining XYZ, you are not going to be permanently happy. Yes, you may get a fleet of joy, but that will not last forever because means you think that something else is going to make you happy. So that awareness, typically a person think that if I get that job, or if I get that bonus, or if I get this promotion, or if I get that girl or a boy, or if I get a child, I'll be happy. I'll be happy forever. But that's not the case. Still, to live in this world, you may have to pursue all those goals, but knowing that, yes, it is going to make me more comfortable, it is needed, but don't have the wrong expectation that it is going to make me completely happy and contented. The complete happiness and contentment can come only from within. And this is reinforced by modern psychology multiple times. If you really look at the positive psychology, this fact is highly underlined and emphasized. So the problem here is that you think that the source of happiness as external objects, but the fact is that they are not really happy. In fact, the material objects only gives you sorrow. So this is the third point of avidya. And the final point of avidya is taking anatma as atma. Each one of us have an idea of who am I. Typically what we do, we try to take us as a combination of our body, mind, and the consciousness. This is the usual concept of myself, right? So what does that mean? When I take my body and my mind as myself, any problem of my body is my problem. Any problem of my mind is my problem, and I get suffered. A simple example is going to illustrate this point very well. Imagine that you are in a dream. Let's say that Devadatta is in a dream. And a fictitious character, Devadatta, is having a dream. Let's say that Devadatta got an accident in that dream and his hand got broken. He is in terrible pain. Absolutely. In that dream space and dream time, he is suffering. But when he wakes up, what happens? There is absolutely no suffering. The hand is not broken. So the broken hand in the dream was not him. The broken hand in the dream was given to him as a tool to operate in that dream space and dream time. When he came out of that dream, he continued to exist, but his tools was left behind. But what happened in the dream? In the dream, when he was identifying with the tool, which is the dream body and the dream mind, his suffering was very high. So exactly like that, when we are in this space and time, in this world of ours, in this space, in this time, when we operate, we take our body and mind as ourselves. And as a result, what happens? Any problem of the body is perceived as a problem of ourselves. Otherwise, what is happening? Still the problem is there, but it is not a problem I have, but it is a problem of my tool. Definitely, it is a situation that needs to be managed, but it is not the end of the world. So typically, a person take the anatma as atma. These are the four different aspects of avidya.
if you recap the whole discussion we had, avidya is one of the obstacle in the path of yoga, one of the 5 obstacles in the path of yoga. In fact, avidya is the breeding ground for even the other 4 kleshas, which are asmita, ragadvesha, and abhinivesha. Avidya refers to ignorance. And Maharshi Patanjali in Sutra 2.5 clearly defines the scope of this avidya. Anitya ashuchi dukkha anatmasu nitya shuchi sukho atmarkhyater avidya. Seeing anitya as nitya, impermanent as permanent, ashuchi as shuchi, impure as pure, dukkha as sukha, and anatma as atma. This is what is avidya. Now let me close my presentation by just what is the solution to get out of the avidya. And that is the beauty of the Yoga Sutra. Maharshi Patanjali tells us 2 sadhanas. The first sadhanas is known as Kriya Yoga, which is Tapa, Swadhyaya, and Ishvara Pranidhana. And second one is Ashtanga Yoga. When you do these practices, essentially you will be able to get out of these 5 kleshas and move towards the goal of the yoga. And my salutations to all of you. It was such a privilege to be part of this conference and talk a few words about this topic, which is fundamental. This avidya is one of the fundamental topic in the path of yoga. And I hope and pray that through the sincere practice and through the by the grace of God, each one of us will be able to get above these 5 kleshas and achieve the goal of the yoga. Thank you.
Thank you, respected Rajeshji, and such an insightful elaboration on such a difficult topic of Vidya, which is often misunderstood. You mentioned 4 important parts of the definition of avidya as nitya, anitya divide, clarity between what is pavitra and apavitra, what is sukha and dukha, and be very clear about what is atma and anatma. And when we are not clear about it, when we confuse wrong thing for the right one, then it is called avidya. And you also mentioned as a solution what Maharshi Patanjali said, Kriya Yoga and Ashtanga Yoga. I'm sure that the viewers watching us from different parts of the world will certainly be benefited. Thank you very much for blessing us.
Thank you.
We thank Shri Rajesh Rabindranath Ji for his beautiful explanation. Thank you so much. I feel honored to welcome our guest, Mr. Valdemar Parado. He has been a member of World Association for Former United Nations Interns and Fellows, and since 2003 as a Senior Research Fellow in Science and Technology for Development, and currently serving as an Executive Vice President of the organization. He has been teaching and on research positions at several universities in Mexico, Latin America, and US. During this time, he has been involved in developing and implementing technology solutions for development in emerging and developing countries. Held professorship in physics, mathematics, computer science, biomedical science, and technology. He has been commissioned to participate in the different forums and conferences at ECO, SOC, DPI, and WSIS in topics related with the impact of ITCs and development, as well as the transfer of technology at the United Nations. He also has been involved and consulted in financing for development projects for communities in several regions of the world. He also has been consultant, advisor, and facilitator for science and technology transfer for the government of Chile, Colombia, Peru, Dominican Republic, Honduras, Bolivia, Costa Rica, Panama, Venezuela, Vietnam, Cambodia, Laos, Brazil, and Mexico. Also in the areas of creation of local capacities. So, ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together to welcome Mr. Valdemar Parado.
Hello. Thank you for that kind introduction. My previous speaker already spoke about the kleshas and gave a general understanding of what they are. Klesha is a term that is used often in yoga to mean obstacles, afflictions, sometimes even is translated as poisons for our mind. And it's kleshas in general, diminishes or distorts our consciousness and bring misery and pain in our lives in many forms. It also is an obstacle that hinders our meditation and prevents us from rising to the state of uh, concentration and samadhi. And as mentioned before, there are five kleshas: avidya, asmita, raga, dvesha, avinivesha. Those are the five kleshas that are mentioned in the sutras 5 and 6 of the Patanjali Yoga Sutras. The second one after avidya is asmita. And it is said in the classic literature that avidya is the source of all the kleshas, all the obstacles that we have in our lives. Sometimes these kleshas come from things that we generate in this life, but sometimes come from before. In general, the second one is translated asmita, is translated as egotism or egoism. In what it means originally, asmi means I am, which is pure awareness of, pure consciousness of self-existence. But when this pure awareness becomes in contact with Maya, then it changes into I am this or I am that, and then the ego takes place in this, and it takes the whole picture and it becomes or wants to become the main character of the movie. And so we said here that when Ashmita it's distorted by avidya, then I'm sorry, when it becomes in contact with Maya, then it's taken over by avidya. And the translation also is, avidya is blending together as if it were of the power of consciousness, which is Purusha, with the power of cognition, that is Buddhi. And here, I will try to give an explanation of the concept of ego in the Western tradition of psychology and psychotherapy. When we are born, basically we are a blank page. And as we start being raised by our family or whoever, then we are given a name, a last name, and a family, a language, a religion, so on and so forth. So all these things are attached to us so that we can have self-awareness or awareness of the self. And the problem with this is that as time goes along, we cannot distinguish between our inner self or consciousness and the things that we created to identify ourselves, and they take over. And in general, we gradually lose more and more awareness of our real self. And this is a problem because in what is called in religions often as sins or obstacles, in psychotherapy and psychology are called neurotic processes. So most of our neurotic processes come, according to psychological sciences, from not being in the present moment or just reacting to memories or to traumas that we had during our childhood. Our psyche has the same as our body. It has self-preserving mechanisms. And as we grow between usually the age of 1 and 7, then we face different obstacles. When we can resolve these obstacles and we have the energy to break them, then we go to the next stage. So we are growing by stages, usually 5, 7 stages in our growth. But when we don't have, because of the circumstances, sometimes because we just don't have the ability or the strength to overcome these obstacles, then they are thrown in the back of our minds for the subconscious, and they stay there until we are ready to solve them. And so they come back as intents to manifest them every time we face the original situation that created this neurotic process, this trauma, this complex or inhibition. And we act in the same way that we acted in the beginning to resolve these problems. So, and this whole structure is, in for instance, Freud called it the ego, the superego, and the id, which is, the id is our biological part, our impulses, our cravings, our desires, so on and so forth. Then the superego is the structure that is imposed in ourselves by the religion and the social constructs that guide us to live in society. And so it's like a supervisor of how we do in society. And then the ego is the one that mediates between the two, the one that actually presents itself to our interactions with the community, or our close beings, or fathers, mothers, couples, or society in general. So our life goes, from childhood to when we have all the parts of our psyche completely developed, through this process of growth in which several identities are created in our lives. And these sometimes we identify so much with these identities, with these processes, that we forget who we are. We forget our inner self. And in psychotherapy, there are different techniques that sometimes were learned from the ancient Eastern philosophies, such as yoga, Taoism, Buddhism, and so forth. So here is where the two streams come together. East and West, they come together. In the Eastern philosophies, there were several streams of thought that defined in different ways what we call ego. For instance, in Buddhism philosophy, the ego is totally denied. They say it doesn't exist. And to some extent, it coincides with the Vedanta philosophy, especially the Advaita Vedanta. But in Advaita Vedanta, there is a clean distinction between what is our personality and the Atman, the inner self. All these things that were created during our growth get resumed or summarized in what's called the personality. Personality is a term that comes from the Greek word persona. Persona means mask. This is the mask that we put in ourselves to present to society. The problem that we have here is that very often we identify so much with the mask that the mask takes over. In other words, the ego takes over. And then it blurs our pure consciousness. It puts layers and layers of blurring into our internal self. So some of these philosophies came at the turn of the last century. And so our psychology, in this sense, is a very new science. Whereas the Eastern philosophy, such as yoga and the others that I mentioned, they have thousands of years of experience. And the main difference is that in the Eastern philosophy, we turn in the Western sciences, we turn our attention outside in order to find the truth. In Eastern philosophy, we turn first the attention inside through meditation, so that we can study what happens inside of us, and then we achieve experience through that. And so it was mentioned by our previous speaker, what is the solution, what Patanjali proposes as a solution for this problem. Okay, several Vedanta teachers got into this description of this problem. For instance, Shankaracharya says, the right vision is the direct adversary of the kleshas, since ignorance is the root of all evil, and ignorance is destroyed when directly confronted by the right vision. The purpose of the tapas and others is samadhi, meditation, the thinning of the kleshas. Tapas and the others are actions, and as their aim is yoga, they are themselves called yoga. Yoga is the mental state of samadhi, and this yoga of action, kriya, aims at that he who practices this is yoga. In other words, Sankaracharya and Patanjali, they propose basically yamas and niyamas in order to thin these kleshas. And they propose tapas, which is to live a frugal life, accesses or tapas, svadhyana and svara pranidhana, so self-study or self-reflection and the devotion to some higher power of being, svara pranidhana. And by doing this, by practicing this, which people usually don't, especially in the West, they don't associate with yoga. For instance, devotion or knowledge, self-knowledge, or accesses are basically, they are extracted from the yamas and the niyamas. These are the niyamas, basically. So if we practice the yamas and the niyamas, then we are in the path of yoga. And as it was mentioned before, in Western, when we talk about yoga, we basically talk about, we mean asanas. And that helps too, and that is important too. It's something that would put us on the path to thin the kleshas. And so in order to deal with what's called the egoism, which is self-importance, or identifying ourselves with what is not. For instance, I identify with my body. I think I am my body, and then I think I am my emotions, and then I think I am my mind, my thoughts, which is totally false. They are parts of a chariot, or I think it was Swami Vivekananda who mentioned that it is like a chariot. The human being is like a chariot or chariot. You have the chariot itself, which is the body, the wheels, and the box, and the part of the chariot. Then you have the horses, who are basically the ones who put in motion the chariot, which are the horses, the emotions. And then you have the mind, which is the driver and has the reins, or doesn't have the reins with the horses and direct the horses. But the chariot has also a passenger, and this passenger inside is the one that has the mission to experience the world. And if these four elements are not put together in the proper order, then problems arise. In general, if we think we are the chariot, we are the body, then it takes over the whole attention of the human being. And the same happens when we identify too much with the emotions or with our thoughts. As a matter of fact, the first sutras of Patanjali say that it is important to control the vrittis. It says, yogaha chitta vritti nirodha. Yoga is the control of the turmoils of the mind. And so the whole topic of this focus on the ego, the egoism, the selfishness, when we misidentify the different parts, which are basically tools or instruments for our experience of life, but they are not in themselves, the real self, the inner self. So it's important that we, as mentioned before, we get the right vidya, the right knowledge, and that's why it's important, to take into practice into our daily lives a constant reminder of our internal awareness, our real self, our inner self, and do not confuse this with the other parts or the other instruments. For instance, the third klesha is raga, which means attachment, and the next one is dvesha, which means aversion. And we usually spend our lives between clinging or desiring or rejecting things. And the last one is avinivesha, which means the fear of living, or the fear of dying. So again, the solution to avoid becoming entangled with the ego is to practice yamas, niyamas, pranayama, asanas, pratyahara, and the rest of the 8 ashtangas. So this is where I'm going to stop, and I hope that I gave you a wide explanation of what Ashmita is and why it's so important to not fall trap of the playings of the ego that enshrines itself as the master. And it's important to have an ego, but it's important that the ego accomplishes its mission, not to take over the inner self and cover our inner consciousness with all this blurring of desires and pain and obstacles that blur our minds. Thank you. Namaste.
Namaste. Thank you very much, respected Waldemarji. Thank you very much for discussing on a very important topic for understanding of Yoga Sutra, Asmita. You rightly mentioned when self comes in contact with Maya, then wrong identification happens, and it is, as you said, called as egotism or egoism. You also connected it with the Sigmund Freud theory of id, ego, superego. You also mentioned about how persona is a mask, and that mask takes over our own existence and our own thinking. From there, raga and dvesha takes birth. As a solution, you mentioned that Adi Shankaracharya mentions about right vision. You also mentions the importance of tapaswadhyaya and Ishwar pranadhama, the niyamas, as a solution to go beyond, to see beyond this limited identity. Chittas, and this limited identity brings vrittis in the chitta, as you mentioned. You also mentioned as a remedy, Ashtangic Marg. Thank you very much for enlightening us with the topic and blessing us today. Thank you.
On behalf of United Consciousness, I thank Mr. Waldemar Parado for coming onto the platform of United Consciousness and sharing his views. Thank you so much. I feel delighted in welcoming our next guest from Argentina, Ms. Laura Morales. She started her yoga practice when she was young, but without constancy. When she got pregnant with her first daughter 16 years ago in Barcelona, Spain, she retaked her yoga classes. 3 years later, after her son's birth, she took her first teacher training in Kundalini Yoga, and a new world opened for her. In 2013, she moved to Santiago in Chile and took another teacher training in Hatha Yoga. After finishing it, she opened a yoga studio called Madhavi Yoga. She met with a surgery due to arthritis. This motivated her to specialize in therapeutic yoga, yin yoga, and Ayurveda. in order to continue her personal practice and help others in similar situation to feel better. In addition to her asana practice, she also studies philosophy and introduction to Sanskrit.
Hi, welcome. Thanks for staying with me today. We're going to practice a gentle practice from your inner self. We try to connect with your inner guide. That everybody has one. So for a start, sit tall, relax your hands on your knees, inhale deeply, and when you exhale, close gently your eyes. Feel your breath. Inhale, exhale. Slowly open your eyes and we start to move our neck, our head in circles. Slowly, by observation, what happened when you move? What happened in your chest? What happened in your back? And what do you feel? It doesn't matter how other people see you in your practice. What matters is how you feel you doing your practice, and change the sense of the circle and observe again what happened in the other direction. Slowly come to the center and put your hands on your knees. We're going to start to move our chest in circles from your heart, not from your head. The head always go first, but we're going to move from our hearts. Inhale when you go forward, exhale on your back. Move slowly, feeling yourself and trying to open your heart. Rotate in the other direction. Inhale and exhale slowly. The most important in this practice is connect with yourself. Come to the center. Hold your legs. Inhale, go forward with your chest. Exhale, come down. Inhale, open your chest. Exhale. Move slowly, gentle, trying to connect with that intelligence in your body. Inhale and exhale. We are waking up our spine, moving in all directions, and slowly back to the center. We're going to do in this position. Open your hands, extend your foot, and inhale, open your chest. Exhale. Inhale, feel all your spine by moving. Exhale. One more time. Inhale. Feel the prana in your body and exhale, relax. And let it go. Everything that you don't want today for you. Inhale. All the prana. Exhale. Let it go. Everything that you don't need today. Slowly go to sit on your heels. Relax your head. Inhale. Slowly come to your hands and open your chest. Look forward. Exhale. Go back. Relax your head. Inhale. Exhale. Remember that practice is for you. It doesn't matter how other people see this practice. Feel how it's feeling in yourself. And back to the center. Go forward with your hands. And we're going to move again our chest. Inhale, exhale. Inhale. Remember, we are moving from our hearts. We're trying to connect with our inner intelligence, with our inner guide. Inhale, exhale, and stay here, relaxing. Feel your spine, feel your chest. If you have any pain in your shoulders, you can open wide your arms and relax. Breath. Feel your heart. Close your eyes and try to connect with the earth. Inhale and slowly back with your hands. Back to this position. And we're going to activate a little more our spine. Inhale, extend your leg and your arm, your right leg and your left arm. Exhale, back. Inhale, the other side. Exhale, back. Inhale, hold. Exhale, one more time. Inhale, exhale. Now, inhale and hold your foot. Inhale, open your chest. If you can, you look the ceiling. And back, slowly. And the other side. Inhale, exhale. Inhale again and open more your chest. Feel the space that we are creating. Exhale. Slowly. Open your hands, push the floor, and go to downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. If you need, you can bend your knees. The most important is you can maintain the space in your spine. Push the floor and extend you. Excellent. Inhale and go forward to Urdhva Mukha Svanasana. Open your chest. Exhale slowly back. Like a wave. Inhale. Feel the prana in your body. And exhale. And let it go. Everything that you don't need today. Inhale. Hold. Exhale. Inhale deeply. Exhale. Go back. Stay here. Bend your knees. It's a gentle practice to feel, to connect with yourself. Put your left knee on the floor. Inhale, open your right arm. Create a space. If you can look at your hand. Exhale, back. Plank. Inhale and exhale. Put your knee on the floor. And the next inhale, open your arms wide. Exhale, back to plank. Adho Mukha Svanasana. Feel your spine, feel your body, feel your breathing. Inhale and exhale. Back with your knees and sit on the mat. Slowly, we go to Upadishta Konasana. It doesn't matter how wide you You can open your legs. Feel comfortable and your spine open and tall. Inhale, raise your arms. Exhale, go to your right, and extend to your feet. Inhale, exhale to the other side. You go forward as you can. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, go forward. If you can touch your feet, excellent. If you don't worry. And from here, we open our arms. Inhale, exhale, go forward like a wave. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, open your chest. Exhale. And back to the center. Bend your right knee. Inhale. Put your right hand on the floor and open your chest. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. And the other side. Send your legs. Inhale, open. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Excellent. Upavishta Konasana again. Inhale. Exhale. And relax here. Relax your head, your shoulders. Inhale. Stay here for a moment. And back to the center. Cross your legs. Put your hands in the center of your chest in Namaskarasana. Close your eyes and feel your heart. Feel your breathing. Inhaling prana. Exhaling everything that you don't need today. Exhale completely. And we go into inhaling 4 times. Inhale. 1, 2, 3. Hold. 1, 2, 3. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale. And let your breath fill. Feel your heart. Put your hands on your heart, on your chest, and feel your inner guide. Namaste. Thanks for staying here today with me.
Thank you very much, Laura ji, for such an excellent guided practical asana demonstration. I'm sure that our audience watching us from different parts of the world will feel inspired to inculcate yoga in their daily life and routine. Thank you very much for blessing us today and to be a part of United Consciousness Yoga event. Thank you very much. Regards.
Thank you.
On
Thank you
behalf
very
of
much.
United Consciousness, I thank Ms. Laura Morales for coming onto the platform of United Consciousness. Thank you so much. I'm very honored and delighted to welcome our performance from the organization Play for Change. Play for Change is not only the organization, but it is a movement created to inspire and connect the world through music and break the boundaries. They reimagine a world connected by music to spread a global message of hope and unity. Playing for Change was born in 2002 as a shared vision between co-founder Mark Johnson and Whitney Kroenke. This musical journey resulted in the award-winning documentary, A Cinematic Discovery of Street Music. Today we have a performance from them on Chanda Mama. In the group we have Damien Mizat from France, Junior Kisan Vega from Congo, Luis Mahalanga from Zimbabwe, Marcelo from Argentina, Noel from Argentina, Ronaldo from Cuba, Roberto from Italy, Rupak from India, Santiago from Argentina, Sibongisne from South Africa, Sinabwe from South Africa, the Oneness Corps from India, Tula from Israel, Tushar Lal from India, Palau from Portugal, and Stefano from Italy. So ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for the group Play for Change. On behalf of United Consciousness, I thank Play for Change musical group for coming onto the platform of United Consciousness. I feel delighted to welcome our next performance from Peru. The artists are associated with Paradigma, a cultural association that operates in Italy and Peru in the collaboration with the Club Libruta Association and the Cita Mondo Association. The upcoming dance is suggested by Mr. Carlos Wilg, who is associated with Sita Mondo for 18 years. They are spreading the Peruvian culture and the marinera, the extraordinary and elegant national dance of Peru. In the performance, the couple is expressing romantic courtship of man towards woman. The two partners move with sinuous movements between complicit glances, approaching and moving away, turning around with skillful steps like the special zapateo. So ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the performance from Sita Mondo. On behalf of United Consciousness, I feel privileged to welcome and introduce our next esteemed guest, Mr. Marshall Olal Johnson. He is an assistant professor in University of Juba, South Sudan, School of Arts and Humanities and Department of Philosophy. He is the present Dean of the School of Arts and Humanities. He is a South Sudanese born in 1964. He comes from a religious background as he was a Roman Catholic priest from 1991 to 2011. Philosophy marked the foundation of his studies. He then proceeded with his master's and doctoral studies in moral theology, ethics at Pontifical Lateran University Alphonsian Academy in Rome from 1993 to 1997. He worked in various fields in his capacity as youth chaplain, facilitator of justice and peace seminar, and a professor of moral theology, human rights, philosophy, and peace building for a period not less than 10 years. He also served as financial administrator, secretary of Presbyteral Council, a consultant chairperson of Sudan Ecumenical Council of Theologians, HIV and AIDS. His work is driven by spirit of teamwork, truth, justice, peace, unity, and transparency. So, ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together to welcome our next guest, Dr. Marshall Olal Johnson.
Greeting from Libya and all this.
A yogic lifestyle involves consciously shaping our attitude, habits, and general ways of life. Let's master the yogic lifestyle of eating, sleeping, and thinking, and find out the appropriate ways of being yogi by asking questions by our experts in the panel discussion on the topic Yogic Living. Eric Mankius, disciple of Sri Muktananda Maharaj, Divine Life Society, India. He is yoga teacher since 1975, professor of yoga of the United Nations Organization, Santiago de Chile, for 40 years, founder of the Chilean Yoga Association, founder and director of Advaita School Chile. It's a school recognized by Yoga Alliance International India. He is also a teacher trainer of teachers and instructors of Purna Yoga from 1990. It's my pleasure to invite and introduce Sanita Selina, a yoga student. She began her yoga journey in her childhood by learning yoga practices from her father. Sanita continued to practice and learn yoga from teachers in Latvia, Europe, India, Canada, and USA. In Luxembourg, she met the yoga master Andre Rail. The meeting resulted in a continuous Swadhyay and further study of Nidra Yoga in France and Romania. And it also opened the doors for introducing the teachings of Andre Ji to other yoga students in Latvia. After receiving her teacher training certificate from Shivananda Yoga Vedanta Center, Uttarkashi, India, she has been given regular group classes and individual sessions of yoga practices, indoor, outdoor, and online. She has also been involved in local community projects in Latvia and working with NGOs promoting happy lifestyles. Stress management, mindfulness, healthy nutrition, physical activity, mental and emotional well-being among various target groups, inspired by her Sanskrit studies with Dr. Sunita Patil and by her sadhana, Sanita co-translated the Yoga Sutra of Patanjali into Latvian language. In the panel, we also have with us Ms. Li Wei Cheng. She's an intuitive healer, certified holistic health counselor, and body work therapist with over 25 years of experience in the field of natural and holistic healing. Her practice in Qigong and Tai Chi began in the temple in Singapore with her mother during her adolescence. She was initiated into transcendental meditation in 1975. She has combined her innate abilities in healing with personal mystical experiences and academic studies of the phenomena and practices. Her certification include accredited undergraduate programs in cross-cultural healing, creative writing, language for healing, massage therapy, vibrational medicine, Reiki mastery, and magnified healing. She is presently writing and developing the concepts, themes, and coordinating the establishments of healing center in the Pacific Rim. I welcome our next guest, Ms. Alejandra Gudelman from Bogota, Colombia. She has been practicing yoga for 20 years and teaching it for more than 10 years. She started teaching in Colombia in poor neighborhoods to kids and women With social challenges, life gave her the gift of being connected to the business world in France, where she lives currently, and she realized that yoga was a very powerful tool to help people in its totality, different environment to the one she was used to while teaching yoga. It wasn't about doing yoga but being yogic at every single action at work. Today she uses the yamas and niyamas to help people think differently in the business world. But she also continues her work helping in an NGO in Colombia. Today's panel discussion will be moderated by Dr. Vikrant Singh Tobar, convener United Consciousness. Dr. Tomar is an acknowledged trainer, academician, scholar, writer, and a management consultant. He's a freelance trainer and served the cabinet ministers of state, MLAs, police officers, and tycoons of the business world. His aim and objective is universal brotherhood and happiness through harmonizing the knowledge from the ancient scriptures into our lives. So I welcome all our guests for panel discussion.
Namaste, friends. We acknowledge your presence, Sanita ji. We acknowledge your presence, Carolina ji. We acknowledge your presence, Alexandra ji. We acknowledge your presence, Live ji. And we acknowledge your presence, Yogi Eric ji. And our wonderful audience from different parts of the world. We acknowledge your presence too. Today we are going to discuss on a very important topic, yogic living, as yoga is not only art and science, it is also the way we live. So we have practitioners and teachers and the students of yoga today in our expert panel. So let me begin with Sanita ji. Sanita ji, when it comes to yogic living, what does it mean for you? When we say yogic living, what does that mean to you?
When I think of a yogic living, I would definitely start with yamas and niyamas. These are the 10 commitments, 10 ways of how we can live according to Patanjali Sutra. And there are 5 yamas, 5 niyamas, and you have already talked a lot about it during the conference, but that would be really the basis of yogic living.
Thank you. Thank you, Sanita ji. Yogi Eric. Eric ji, when we talk about yogic living, what does it mean for you?
Carolina, ¿cuál es la pregunta?
¿Qué significa para ti vivir en el yoga? Vivir el yoga.
Para mí es una actitud de vida que comprende principalmente la actualización de valores de verdad, justicia, belleza, como las aspiraciones nobles humanas, y que eso se presente en la vida cotidiana, en el día a día, con la familia, los hijos, la pareja, la sociedad en la cual vivimos.
For me, it's a way of life. It's a way of life with kindness, with love, with sharing with our family, our friends, and in all our lives, we live always yoga.
Thank you. Live ji, you have been practicing, teaching, helping people with this. What is yogic living for you?
Well, for me, it's the embodiment of all the lofty, esoteric, spiritual principles and the rhetoric, and really bringing it into the body, into the heart, into the mind, and especially into the breath and into everyday living. And I feel that yogic living is practical spirituality, so that we bring this into the world and in service to humanity. So that to me is living the truth, living the compassion, living the kindness, and living our soul purpose on this planet. And each one of us has one.
Thank you. Alexandra ji, the same question to you. What is yogic living for you?
Well, I do agree with what people say here, but personally, it's to be present. It's just to be present with your body, as Wei Qingli said, present with your emotions and your heart and with your thoughts. And when you're present, when you're aligned, then you're going to be aware of the divine, and every action is going to be towards service all the time. So yogic living for me is to be present and then being to service.
Thank you, Alexandra ji. So, once having understood what does yogic living means to us, second big question is, we are living in a very competitive world where at times one wins at the cost of other. Many times it becomes a win-lose game. I win, you lose. How come we inculcate this yogic living, kindness, loving, sharing, compassion, these virtues in people? So let me ask Sanita ji, even yamas and niyamas represent my responsibility towards others, not doing ahimsa, not stealing something that belongs to other. How should we begin installing this in people?
I believe this is about the inclusion of every single member of the community. And it is very important to bring these values in the community and to share them between the members and really make people feel to be included, to have this sense of belonging which unites all of us.
Thank you. Yogi Eric ji, how can we install these qualities in people?
Eric,
¿Sí?
acá lo que están hablando en general es dentro de este mundo competitivo en el que vivimos, cómo transmitimos esta forma de vivir de los yogis, cómo compartes tú este conocimiento de tu vida, este amor, esta relación con los otros, cómo lo llevas hacia los demás.
Con el ejemplo. Con el ejemplo, no hay otra manera que la acción cotidiana que uno tiene que refleje eso que uno piensa y dice. ¿No? Que no sea solo un discurso, que sea una acción concreta que uno hace. En definitiva, es el ejemplo.
Eric says that the way that to share this living in yoga is with the example. Not only we can talk, but the way we can live. Then the behavior in our day, all the time, that it's transmitted to another people and sharing with another.
Thank you. As Yogi Eric said, be the change that you want to see in others. Mahatma Gandhi mentioned, be the change that you want to see in the world. Indeed, lead by example, Yogi Eric said. As they say, preach Bible and speak nothing. Let your behavior do the work.
Yes.
Lee Weiji, how can we install these values? Values of compassion, kindness, and you mentioned one important word is purpose of life. How can I utilize yogic techniques to know my purpose of life?
Carolina?
But this is for Wei Qing?
Yes, Li Weiji, please speak.
Es para Wei Qing.
It's for me, Wai Ching?
Yes, Wai Ching, sorry.
I'm sorry, I missed my name being called. Yes, I feel that it is to speak from the heart and with truth and with compassion, because we can speak truth in many different ways, especially now in this time of trying to live more truthfully in this current affairs with a lot of opposing forces, political, medical, and it's a difficult time right now. It's Kali Yuga, right? And we are trying to live the yoga in these times, and we are incarnated at this time to live the light and to live the truth. So how do we do it? Your question is, Dr. Vikranji, is how do we live it? And besides embodiment and by example, and to speak the truth. And we have to, I believe we really have to, especially in businesses. And I know you are consulting in business, as I am too, many CEOs, and I do corporate consulting. It's a difficult path, dharma, for us to really take a deep breath, go in the heart, and go also into the Muladhara, and to really feel ourselves and to say, what is our truth that we can express, that to make a change. It's not just living, because sometimes people don't see it. I think it's really time, I feel it's time for us to be verbal, but in a way that is honoring and respecting all sides of opposing forces, the yin yang and the all the polarities in this world. So I feel this is a call for each one of us to do so, besides living our truth and living the yogi way.
Thank you. And Zendraji, you mentioned about to be in the moment, to remain aware. What, how can yoga contribute, and how yogic way I can be in the moment?
Um, Thank you. Well, when you're aligned, when you're present, then you cannot lose or miss any life opportunity. When you're aligned, then you just feel like miracles happening. So it's something that you just can't miss. Then when you're aligned and you're connected to the divine, you have this drive of serving people. And because you're serving to your community or your friends or the world, then you get out of this role of being a victim, right? So when you're serving for a moment, you just know that there's something you have to do, that's some kind of mission, and you're connected to the divine. So you're in this yogic living, you know that you can get away from your ego for a moment and start serving. So, it's a lot of benefits. First, you don't miss opportunities. Then you are getting out of your victim side. And at the end, you're just growing, you're evolving. So I think that's, for me, those are a good package of benefits practicing yogic
When you
living.
use the word aligned to what?
Well, for people in the business world, as Wei Ching said, sometimes it's hard to talk about the divine or talk about yoga. So you start just saying that you have to be aligned with your body, your emotions, and your thoughts. And then once they start feeling that they're aligned with the three bodies, their breathing is going to bring something magical. And you just, you can't explain exactly what, you know what is going on, but you cannot put it into words. Otherwise, sometimes they're going to be freaking out. But you know that it's the divine that is manifesting when they're aligned. And that is, it's so powerful.
When we are aligned in our thought, speech, and action, then we feel more empowered. And she said that miracle happens. So, Sanithaji, how in yamas and niyamas such great principles are given. Even I want to be aligned. I want to speak what I feel like. But then I feel if I speak what I feel like, it will have negative impact on my relationships. It may not have let me get the next promotion, or I may lose the project in hand. So at times I would like to change the fact. I would like to speak the way which may not be speaking the truth in order to gain short-term benefits. How will you motivate such people to follow yama and niyama when they see immediate benefit by not following yama and niyama? Anybody from the group may pick up. Or Sanita, you would like to begin, then she can.
Yes, probably I didn't, get the question exactly.
Okay,
So if
okay, I
someone,
repeat. not following yama and niyama gives me immediate benefits many times. So how can I convince somebody to follow yama and niyama because it is difficult to follow, and not following are giving me immediate benefits?
Yeah, right. It is about the longer benefit, and it is about the benefit of how will you feel at the end of the day, not just right now. And as the previous panelist mentioned, it is also linked to the sensations in the body and also our feelings. And whenever we don't speak truth, or we do some other not rightful things, then it also feels in our body, and at the end of the day it could also do some harm, and also kind of psychosomatic, it could come out as the physical illness as well. So probably these could be things which would motivate people.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Sanita ji, what you said is really very important. She says that though it may appear like you may get immediate benefits by not following yamas and niyamas, but immediately you will feel a dissonance within yourself when your thoughts, speech, and actions are not aligned, as Alexandra ji said. You will feel a dissonance inside. It will be create stress. This stress may manifest in your body also. It may lead to illness also. So there will be immediate losses also that you will face if you don't follow yamas and niyamas. So Eric J, when it says I wish to follow yamas and niyamas, and I lead by example, as you said. So, how me leading as an example can help others also to learn how to have a yogic living?
Ya. Están haciendo una vinculación entre vivir en la vida yogi y yamas y niyamas, que lograr un beneficio inmediato a través de ello puede ser un poco complicado, y no es inmediato, sino que se logra a través de sentir que no se está haciendo daño al otro, genera no somatizas, no enfermas. Y acá la vinculación con eso, a pesar de que esto pueda ser un poco difícil, ¿cómo haces tú, Eric, para liderar un grupo a través de tu ejemplo? ¿Cómo ayudas a las otras personas? ¿Cómo enseñas a las otras personas?
Primero, los actos nobles son los que ennoblecen el alma y nos acercan a Dios. Eso es lo primero. Lo segundo tiene que ver con lo que están hablando respecto del yama y niyama. Es un consejo para lo que se llama la acción correcta, la acción ética, ¿no? En comparación con la acción fruitiva, es decir, esa acción egoísta que solo pretende mi propio beneficio. La acción correcta, que fundamenta el Dharma en definitiva, tiene que ver con una acción correcta, lo que se debe hacer, ¿vale? Y eso no necesariamente es lo que me conviene, lo que me gusta, o con lo que gano algo. Pero eso no puede ser de otra forma que uno haciéndolo. Es decir, uno debe hacerlo, no es un discurso. Entonces, cuando se pregunta cómo lideras a los demás, es decir, como referente para los demás, el único referente es lo que uno hace. Por eso digo, la acción son las acciones nobles, las que ennoblecen el alma y nos acercan a Dios. La vida es un acto. A eso apuntan los yamas y niyamas, un compromiso.
Okay. Eric says that the noble act ennoble the soul, and of this way we get to God. And about yamas and niyamas, the advice, it's doing the right behavior, the just action, the ethic action, in compare with the selfish action. Then we are going to try to doing the correct action because of this way we get dharma. We normally we do not do the things that we want, of the things that we like, but the just action, the correct action, the correct behavior. And there's no way to show this way that, but only with our own behavior. It's by the example that we can show to another the right way to get God. And all life, it's an act, it's a behavior. Then that's all that Eric tried to explain.
Thank you. So Eric G said that following this selfless path is the path of dharma, and everything in this universe actually seems they are following dharma. So even human beings should also follow dharma as nature follows its own dharma. So what is my swadharma? What exactly am I incarnated for? Let's ask Waiching Ji. You mentioned about in Kali Yuga, it is difficult to know what exactly is my purpose of life. I feel my purpose of life is going to Las Vegas, having some gambling, earning lots of money, going places, doing all the fun activity. Is it not my purpose of life? And if it is not, then what is the purpose of life? And whatever it is, how can I know it?
Yes, good question. I actually feel that everybody is expressing their purposes, whatever it is, like your example of going to Las Vegas. And therefore, for people like us and for everybody, it's compassion and acceptance and tolerance. And it's just embracing everything and everybody in the larger tantra, in the true tantra of things, is to acceptance and not to create too much judgment in our minds and opinions of people and the situations, even in these difficult times, because not everybody's on the same path, right? And the different times and different matrix or soul codes, or you might call it that soul purpose, is that even the dark side have their purpose here, and it's playing itself out right now in the dark and light forces perfectly actually. So if people like us, if we are to hold the light and be discerning, I feel that's the word discernment, is to feel in ourselves what is being called in our soul for our own evolution, for our own refinement, and leave it to the others. And you know that we cannot force people, coerce, impose on others, because that is going outside of our own center, our own evolution, and our own alignment with the divine. And so I love that word. And also then we lose our magic, our magical and our mystery of our evolution if we do that. And that's too high price to pay to have someone do what our will is, like the ego. So I feel that each one of us in meditation, in deep contemplation, we have to feel our own evolutionary moments, our path, and to evolve, to blossom, and allow others. So I feel like the magic can happen when we send the light and love to others. And I've seen it, of course, in healing, and allow people to evolve along their own path.
Thank you. So Waiching Ji mentioned that self-inquiry is an important tool to know your soul purpose. We all are so uniquely different. And that's why everybody has its own soul purpose. Even dark sides also have a significant impact on life, and they are also taking us indirectly towards our soul purpose only. Understanding this, let's ask from Alzendra Ji. that you mentioned, once you are aligned, you don't feel victimhood, ego goes down, and you serve the community and serve, you have that feeling of servitude. So can you explain it a bit, how feeling of victimhood goes down when you are aligned?
Well, something that I practice with people I work, and I do practice myself, is I imagine myself when I was 7 years old, and I ask people to go back to their inner child. So when we do this exercise, if we think about children, they are always listening to their bodies, and they're so connected. If they're thirsty, if something hurts, so they are very present, right? And then children, they're always curious and curious about life, about nature, about the other person, and they're not into the selfish world like we adults. We are so polluted, and we want to achieve things. And kids, they're just want to get to know each other, play, have fun, and be loved. And children, they have the notion that time actually it's different to the one that we live. So for adults, sometimes we are work where we're so into our stress and how complicated is my life, then we have the impression that the day lasted only like 10 minutes. Like, oh my gosh, I just finished my day, I didn't do a thing. But kids, they have the impression that actually one day can last a week or maybe more, because they're so present that they really enjoy the moment. And besides all that, children, they tend to be generous, like really truly generous. Sorry. So if when you're in the corporate world and you try to talk about yamas or niyamas, you just start working with, just go to your inner child, and that helps a lot. It's something very simple. It's a very simple exercise. I do it myself, and you realize how powerful it is to just go to the basics.
Alzendraji said, go to the basics. When we were in our inner child, there may be certain experiences of life which has crafted what we are today. Seeing those things from a fresh perspective may help us to come out of our feeling of even victimhood. Because when I was a child, when I suffered, probably that time I was not that much matured. But today, when I see the same incident with a matured mindset, I will understand that things happen this way, and it will help me to come out of my victimhood feeling. That's a profound, Alzendra ji. Thank you for sharing with it. Sanita ji, when we say that by not following yamas and niyamas, will have lots of issues in life, and that's why it is expected for everybody to follow yamas and niyamas. Now we together will try to make a yogic lifestyle for our audience. Let's begin from the beginning. What should be there in yogic lifestyle? We understood the values. We have already covered the values. We have covered love, kindness, sharing. All these values are there. Now let's talk about what acts they should do in their daily life. Then it will be called as a yogic living. Fine, you are living a yogic life. So what are the indicators that a person is living a yogic life? Let's begin from the beginning. Uh, from the morning itself. Let's talk about what time should I get up if it is in my hands to have a yogic life. And after getting up, what should I do? Let's be very specific and very simple.
Yes, first of all, we also have to remember that when we speak of a yogic living, then it's adapted to these times, this place, this time, and specific constitution of the person, also according to Ayurveda. So maybe the same schedule will not be relevant for everybody, but there could be some basic principles to be followed. So I can speak of myself, and then if someone can add something. So first of all, when getting up, I tend to get up quite early in the morning, usually before the sunrise. But here in Latvia, we have those 4 seasons, and in the summertime, right now in the summer solstice, the sunrise is really early. So usually not in the summer, not like getting up at 2 a.m. That would be a bit too harsh. But during other periods of the year, yes. Then doing some meditation, and also there is some kind of minutes of a gratitude, because gratitude is also very important part in yogic living. Also moving away from this victimization. When once you feel grateful, you don't feel as a victim anymore. So and then afterwards some simple asana and some pranayama practice.
Perfect.
And then, yeah, then go to breakfast and then the daily routine.
That's nice. Thank you. Thank you for starting our yogic day. She said, get up before sunrise, maybe, and it depends on your body type also and the place of the world you are living. But yes, get up early, do some meditation, have asana, pranayama, do some gratitude, think of things you are grateful about. So, this is how you begin your day. And then, how should I be with others? If I'm living a yogic life, then how should I be with others? Yogi Eric Ji. I'm leading a yogic life. Very specifically, how should I behave with my relatives, with my people around me? How should I behave?
Ya. Acá están hablando de la vida del yogi en lo cotidiano, de cómo lo hace en su rutina. Entonces la pregunta anterior se refería a, fuera de los valores de amor, de caridad, ¿cómo es el día del yogi normalmente? ¿A qué hora se levanta? Entonces Sanitas Líneas señaló que ella se levantaba muy temprano, salvo los días de verano, cuando ya amanece demasiado temprano, entonces es imposible levantarse a la hora que sale el sol. Pero normalmente trata de hacerlo así. Después hay un momento de meditación, de gratitud, de pranayama. Y entonces acá la siguiente pregunta para ti es ¿cómo este comportamiento del yogi lo transmites a las personas con las cuales convives? Con tus hijos, con tu familia, con tus alumnos, alumnas en este caso, en el cotidiano.
Bueno, de lunes a viernes me levanto muy temprano, guardo silencio y luego comienzan las clases. Y en esa clase es una forma de enseñar a los otros de que la actividad que dura 1 hora empieza en silencio, termina en silencio. Y entre tanto se hacen ejercicios respiratorios, de focalización de la atención, ejercicio físico. Hay un momento en que hay un descanso o relajación, ¿no? Que es el nidra en definitiva, y después terminan en silencio meditando. ¿Tá? Esa es una secuencia que tiene por objeto entrenar al sujeto en una cuestión muy básica que tiene que ver con que la percepción y la conducta deben entrenarse para que la percepción sea la adecuada y la conducta sea atingente y proporcionada y que resuelva las situaciones presentes. Ese es el entrenamiento. Entonces, se hacen varias clases durante el día. Entre tanto, tengo tiempo para estar con mi hija. Yo vivo solo con mi hija, que es la menor, de 16 años ahora. Los otros son mayores, ya tienen su vida. Y entre tanto, tengo que cuidar la casa, tengo que limpiar la casa, ir al supermercado, ¿no? Y también tengo relación con otros alumnos que me llaman y hay que darles el tiempo para conversar de su vida cotidiana, ¿no? De cómo resuelven la vida y cómo los acompaño en cuanto a resolver las situaciones de la vida. Y después en la tarde continúa con lo mismo, ¿no? Entonces yo vivo bastante solitario, ¿no? Porque necesito bastante tiempo para guardar silencio, ¿no? Tiempo largo de silencio. Y los fines de semana, la gente que manifestó interés por meditar, los invito a que de las 8 de la mañana a las 2 de la tarde hagamos, es decir, de las 8 de la mañana a las 10 de la mañana, durante 2 horas, meditamos juntos, ¿vale? Para que la meditación no sean los 5 minutos, sino una cosa en serio, para que después se proyecte a que la persona medite 3 horas diarias. Entre tanto, hago lo que hace toda la gente. Voy al supermercado, limpio la casa, me ocupo de mis mascotas, etc. Lo que es como
In the interest of time, we may need to start translating.
Yes.
Okay. Ahora te dio el tiempo para traducir. Thank you. Eric, divide the week between Monday to Friday and weekend. To Monday to Friday, they wake up early and stay in silence for a time. Then we begin the classes. And in the classes is a way to teach, to train this silence, the attention, and doing physics exercises. Then we rest in nidra. Then we take focus in an object and try to meditate. Then, because the principle is connect the attention with the correct conduct, the correct act, the correct behavior, and do the right things to attend this perception. Then, with the first time of classes 2 a.m., they care of their child, a daughter. She has 16 years old. Share the house, clean the house, go into supermarket, and he takes some time to have a chat with friends about life, people who need some kind of guidance for their lives. And 2 p.m. it's the same. Classes, time to take a time of silence. And at weekend, they, from 8 until 10, they share a time for a meditation with all people that want to share with him. But because the idea is take it seriously, the meditation, and 3 hours a day minimum. And he said there his life is so in solitude. He's basically is alone all the day with this thought, or in meditation, or in silence.
Thank you. Thank you. Vaichinji, having understood what Dr. Eric Ji said, Yogi Eric said, he said it is important to be in silence also. What additional attributes, when I go to even office and I'm living a yogic life, I'm facing someday profit happens, sometimes it's loss, sometimes people are behaving according to me, sometimes they are not, lots of triggers. In a yogic life, how should I deal with these triggers in my office, in my professional life?
Okay, I have a very simple practice and tip, very practical, is the communion of the soul. So usually when I do this counseling and consulting, I just tell people, and myself, I practice this, and it really is so effective, because this is the time of yoga between the soul and the physicality, our personalities. So this is that the moment we come back into our bodies, is that when we take the first breath, and so we come back to the basics, we speak the breath. So when we take the first breath in the morning, and this has helped a lot of my business clients is that I just tell them, try not to turn on the alarm clock. Spend as much time as possible with the self, coming into consciousness, into our physicality and our minds, with the breath, and connect with the soul, the Atman, or whatever we want to call it, and really feel out the soma, the intelligence of our bodies, the cells, and our consciousness. What is the soul trying to tell us? And many people can actually solve business issues this way. Because if they have a problem and adversity or conflict in the business, since you're asking me the question about that, is that so many people have solved their issues in this deep contemplation before even thinking about an issue, is that the feeling in the body, the soul, the soma, is already giving an answer, a solution to the day. And then to envision what the day might want to become based on what we call the the intention of the mind and the desire. Where does that come? Whether it's to make a lot of money, or it's to be fair to all the employees, or there's a difficult positioning, and how we can take it out into the world. And then when we are ready with that, because I feel that in meditation, I am a strong believer of flow and rhythm. So and so every day is different. Every day the soul has a different message for us. And so we feel that the guidance is coming in at this very precious time. And sort of like coming out and sometimes trying to go back into meditation when the mind is very, very active. So this is the way that we can just meditate for 1 half hour, whatever, 1 hour, and then take that into the world. So that's my practical tip.
Thank you very much. Alzandra ji, this is how we started the day. We lived the day. We went to office. Now the time is to go back to the bed. So how should I end my day the yogic way?
Well, to end the day, actually, it's more to leave the day because the day never ends. Somehow your energy is always there. So I will just give you 5 tips that I give to my clients over time, and I do practice myself. First is, as I said before, every time that you're very harsh on yourself, especially in the professional world, try to remember that you're 7 years old, that you're learning, that you're curious, and you have to be positive all the time. And be positive and curious about the person that's working with you as well. You can see them as someone who's 7 years old. So you're not going to be very negative or very resentful about this person. So that's one tip. Remember that you're always learning that you're a child. Then when I'm drinking water, that it can be, during the whole day, I try to visualize, because I'm a very visual person. So I'm visualizing that the water is flowing through my throat, and it's like nourishing me, inspiring me, giving me all the prana. So I can do it, before going to bed or when I wake up, like every moment that you're feeling that, and you can breathe because you're in a meeting. So drink your water and visualize it for a moment. It's nourishing you. Okay, so second tip. Then the third tip is when you're very stressed and after, your day at the office, just lay down on the ground and be thankful for whatever you're feeling, for whatever your emotion or your experience was during the day. Just lay down and be connected to Mother Earth for a moment and be thankful. It's really, really helpful. And fourth, as Wei Qingli said, breathing. So at least 3 cycles per day, I recommend to breathe in from the sole of the feet to the top of your head. Then exhale, top of the head, sole of the feet. Do it 3 times, and then 3 cycles during the day. So you don't have to wait to be stressful or panicking before a meeting. You can do it at every time. You can go to the toilet, say, excuse me, and then you can do your breathing and coming back. And, it's a way to keep you centered. And the last one is do karma yoga. Like whatever you're doing, think about service. Go back to the notion of being into service. And I honestly believe that our purpose here is to serve. And that's what we're doing here during this meeting. We're serving. So That's it. 5
Perfect.
tips.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, respected guests from different parts of the world and the audience that who are watching us. So we had a beautiful discussion over yogic living, and the discussion started with Sanita ji mentioning the importance of yamas and niyamas. We understood in this discussion that when you follow yamas and niyamas, you are aligned. As Alexandra ji said, you are aligned, your body, thoughts, and emotions are aligned. You feel less victimhood, your ego goes less, and you feel more to serve others. In the words of Mr. Eric, you actually are aligned with dharma and you do selfless actions. And how to propagate this? Be the example. Lead by example, be the change that you want to see in the world. And how should I lead my life? Yama and Niyama's way. Vaichinji mentioned that we all are so unique. We all have our own soul purpose. Self inquiry is the way which will help us to know the purpose of my existence, incarnation. Even the dark sides of life also have something to contribute in this. And she also mentioned about Mooladhara and even chakras, how they can contribute in our understanding about self. When you don't follow yamanas niyamas, then Sanita ji said it will create dissonance, stress, fear, guilt, even physical illness. So following yamas and niyamas has got bundle of benefits, not following has got bundle of disbenefits, and that's why we should lead a yogic life. Then how should I begin a yogic day? Sanita ji mentioned that if you want to begin a yogic day, then get up early, depending on your geography, the geometrical position, but try to get up early, do meditation, gratitude meditation, asanas, and some pranayama. Yogic Eric said, have some time for silence also. Do Nindra Yoga. Yogi Eric also mentioned the importance of balancing the family life and the work life. Even it is important to give due time to your friends also, as Yogi Eric mentioned. So do balance in your work, professional life, and social life, and have some silent time for yourself also. Vaichinji added in that you should also think about communion with the soul. Whenever you get confused or whenever you are confronting any moment of making any decision, focus on your breath. Be silent, connect with your soul, and see what your soul is replying to you. You may do it in morning, you may do it in afternoon, whenever you feel like. You can do it anytime, any day, any moment. And it will help you to connect with your soul and you will get tremendous answers. Alexandra ji said that you should leave the day, in her words, rather than ending. You should leave the day, but while leaving the day, assure that you have lived the day enough. And how to live the day enough? She said, keep learning. It keeps you fresh. Yogic living is learning. Be curious, just like a 7-year-old child, and see others also as a 7-year-old child. That way you will forgive them soon. And be curious about them also. Be interested if you want to be interesting, as they say. When you are drinking water, feel it is nourishing you. When you are breathing, feel it is nourishing you. Take a pause and really feel it. It will start nourishing you. When you feel stressed, lay down, connect to the Mother Earth, and think for all the things that you are grateful for. 3 cycle of deep breath from feet to head 3 times a day. If you do, it will revitalize. And at the end of the day, throughout the life, let's do karma yoga, serving without any expectation of results, what we are doing right now, doing our own dharmas. Thank you very much, friends, for being here and enlightening United Consciousness and the audience from different parts of the world. Thank you. Namaste.
Thank you.
I feel pleasure in introducing our next guest, Brahmacharini Kritika Chaitanya. She was born in Toronto, Canada. After studying international development studies and philosophy at the University of Toronto and engaging in much social work and volunteerism, she joined second residential Vedanta course in Chinmay Mission. Trinidad and Tobago Ashram in 2013. After a year and a half of studying the highest knowledge and Sanskrit under the guidance of His Holiness Swami Prakashananda Ji, she has committed herself to serving Chinmay Mission. She is currently posted in Trinidad conducting public satsangs and classes of adult seniors and young females and assisting with ashram activities and enterprises. So, ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together to welcome Brahmacharani Kritika Devi.
Hari Om, everyone. Thank you for having me today. For me, it's lunchtime in Trinidad. We will begin with a short prayer and then we will see today's session. Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Om Shri Saraswatye Namaha. Om Shri Guru Bhyo Namaha. All right, let's just get this screen going here. Okay, I think you'll be able to see my my slideshow. All right, so today we have a session on guided meditation. And to begin the session, we are just going to very briefly practice the different types that we will be studying later on in this slide. So if everyone watching can sit up straight, sit very comfortably wherever you are, whether you're on a chair or you're on the ground, and just very gently close your eyes. There are different types of meditation that I'm going to guide us through just for a few minutes, and then we will look in depth into them. So first of all, we're going to move from external to internal. So around where you are, there are sounds that will be made. There are birds chirping, there are cars passing, maybe your air conditioning or your heater is on. Begin to count the sounds that are around you. And as you count them quietly in your mind, take note of them. And as these sounds are being made and you're becoming more and more aware of them, that you would not be aware of on a daily basis, there are different thoughts that will be passing through your mind. So relax the body and pay attention to the different thoughts that are passing. Very slowly begin to pay attention to the muscles in your toes, in your feet, and relax them. Pay attention to the muscles in your legs, your hips, your back, your arms, and relax all of these muscles slowly in a process. Relax the muscles in your shoulders, in your neck, your facial muscles. If you're frowning, release those muscles also. And you have successfully withdrawn your attention from the disturbances of the outside world and from the physical body. Now, as we are relaxed in this state, be aware of each breath that we take. You breathe in, and then breathe out. Then breathe in for 4 seconds, 3, 2, 1, and hold the breath for 3, 2, 1, and release the breath, 3, 2, 1. And breathe in and breathe out. And as you're sitting there in meditation, different thoughts are passing through the mind. Different desires are passing through the mind, which will arise. And don't suppress them, but don't indulge them also. Let them rise, express themselves, and pass away. So let your intellect be the detached witness of all the thoughts, just like an officer in the Navy parade that watches the proceedings without identifying any one soldier in front of him. Just watch the thoughts arise and dissipate. Then in your mind, to get control of that mind once again, then we do Manasa Japa. Manasa Japa means I do repetition in my mind only. So I will choose a mantra, but really any japa, any mantra can be used. So just pay attention to the sounds from where they arise, from where they sustain, and from where they dissipate into. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. And then finally, we move into a thoughtless state. We stop the helper and we just watch the silence. And if we find this difficult, then we resume chanting, we resume pranayama, we resume thought massage, we resume external to internal. And now very slowly you can open your eyes. So that was just the practice of meditation. There are many different ways, and I just covered about 5 of them here with us today. There are many different helpers to help our meditation process. Now that was the practice. Now on the next slide. Why do we meditate? What is the point of meditation? What is the purpose of meditation? Well, really, this session is a general meditation guide. And to really understand meditation, you'll have to enter into an ashrama, find that guru, and practice this on a second-by-second basis. But really, it is in the seat of meditation that we learn to use this mind to rise beyond the mind. And by doing that, then we realize the truth. And what is that truth that we are trying to realize? Our own innermost self, the Atman, the self, Brahman, our true nature, many different synonyms, many different words we use for that same goal. So we use the mind as a tool to rise beyond that mind. And so therefore, we have to create a new habit in our mind. And what is that new habit that we have to replace the wrong habit with? It is that we have to see our identity in the pure self. Right now, what do we see our identity as? I am this body. And this body is very fit. This body is very tall. This body is very short. This body is very big. It's very petite. This body is healthy. This body is not healthy. And I am that thing. And then we have to move beyond that. I am my mind, right? I am a chocolatier. I love Indian food so much. I love Mexican food so much. And so whatever I have in my mind, that I am. I am an angry person. I am an intellectual person. I am a happy person. I am an immature person. I am a very mature person. And our intellect, well, whatever I say goes. Whatever argument I make, whatever conclusions I have made based upon my interactions in the world, based upon the experiences in the world, then that thing is correct and only that. So right now, our identity is with the body, the mind, and the intellect. And so that is the wrong habit that we have created over lifetimes, over janams, that we have been born and born over into this world. And so we're trying to create a new habit to replace that old habit. And that new habit is to see our identity in the pure self. So that eventually there is no I, that ahankara, that ego has dissipated. There is no me and you. There is no me and Bhagwan or God or the self. There's just one. So in its purest form, meditation is the point where the meditator, the meditated, and the meditation merge into one. So these habits are prescribed by our rishis. So we have karma yoga, we have bhakti yoga, we have jnana yoga. Karma yoga is selfless action. Bhakti yoga is devotion to the self, to Bhagwan, to this entire universe. And then jnana yoga is studying our scriptures. And so these now, the way that our rishis have prescribed these duties, these actions that must be done within each of these three yogas, they are to constantly turn the mind away from the extroverted pursuits to the nature of the self. It may seem, our scriptures tell us, do your duty. And if my duty is being a garbage man or a garbage woman, my duty is focused on, I have to pick up this bag, I have to go to this community, I have to do this in the truck, whatever it may be. But really, if I practice it according to karma yoga, bhakti yoga, jnana yoga, the real pursuit of the self is hidden and ingrained in each of those actions. And so yuj is the root word or the root of yoga. So when we say karma yoga, bhakti yoga, jnana yoga, or any other yoga that we're talking about, yuj is that root in Sanskrit. And yuj means to unite. So in its purest form, the meditator, the meditated, and the meditation merge into one. So why do we meditate once again? Well, this meditation, it benefits us in many different ways. And what is that? First, it integrates the personality. I have my intellectual personality, I have my emotional personality, and I have my physical personality. Gurudev also says we have a spiritual personality. So all of these have to be integrated, because if my intellectual personality tells me, no, I cannot have sugar because I have diabetes, but my emotional personality says, oh, but it'll make me feel so good if I just have this piece of cake. And then my physical personality starts to salivate at the mouth. It starts to drool because I'm so excited. I'm just smelling this cake that's in front of me. That means my personality is not integrated. My spiritual personality is saying, well, the dharmic thing to do is to not have the cake because it will make my diabetes worse. So integration of the personality, developing clarity in my thinking, not being biased to one side or not making a decision based on emotions, developing vairagya or detachment. Detachment doesn't mean I give up this and I give up that. I still need to eat. But if I get food today, if I get this meal, it's okay. If I don't get it, that's also okay. If I get what I want, that's okay. If I don't get what I want, that's also okay. And so therefore, growing in spirituality, developing wisdom, and reducing that body identification, aiding in viveka, discrimination, seeing what is true from not true. And it cures us from the 6 impurities or the mala, kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, and matsarya. That lust, anger, greed, delusion, pride, and jealousy. Getting rid of all of these impurities, or at least being able to identify, okay, krodha is developing in me now. It's arising in my personality. I need to find something to get rid of this krodha, to release from this anger, like that, or keep my mouth shut, go into maunam, like that. And so now, what are the aids in meditation that we speak of? What will help us in meditation? I think in the previous panel, some of these were touched upon. So very quickly, I will just quote from Bhagavad Gita, what Bhagwan Shri Krishna tells to Arjuna. Yuktahara viharasya, yukta chetasya karmasu, yukta swapna vabodhasya, yogo bhavati dukkha. So what aids in meditation? This is where the various sadhanas or practices come in. And this comes from Bhagavad Gita chapter 6. Bhagwan tells our rishis, our scriptures tell us that we must have moderation. And what is this moderation in eating? So we should be eating fresh sattvic food. Sattvic food means it is prepared and consumed within 3 hours. And then what sorry. So what is the sattvic food that we consume? Well, it doesn't make sense if we go and we eat non-veg food and we say it's prepared within 3 hours, Sattvic food, there is a nice list, the greens and the vegetables and the grains and all of that, and then which type. So, and these foods should only be consumed when I am hungry. I shouldn't be going and eating every minute just because food is in front of me. Fresh, not frozen like that. Then the recreation that I engage in. Right? What type of activities do I engage in? What I consume with my senses, with my sense organs, that is also food as well. So if I'm listening to very rajasic music, upbeat music that makes me move, or I'm listening to very tamasic music, or TV, or whatever it is that I am engaging in, well, then my thoughts will begin to act that certain way. Then when I go and I sit down for meditation, well, then I will be moving meditation. I will not be doing the true type of meditation that will unite the meditator, the meditated, and the meditation itself. And then the sleeping, no more than 8 hours. Anything more than 8 hours is tamasic. Less is more, actually, but we know our bodies are different, and the types of activities that we engage in, we should have enough sleep for that. And then our actions should be done according to karma yoga. It should be done according to dharma. Now, controlling all my organs and thoughts, my sense organs and my thoughts. I know that I really want to watch TV, but I'm supposed to do my sadhana at Sandhya hour. I'm supposed to be doing my japa. I'm supposed to be singing my kirtan. I'm supposed to be doing my bhajans. I'm supposed to be doing my duty even. But I want to sit down and go to the movies or watch TV or whatever it may be. So control. Control means discipline in all aspects of life. Discipline is something that needs to be very clear in our mind, because we cannot do according to what we want to do, because the mind is the most undisciplined organ that we have. So discipline needs to be there. And when I'm doing my meditation, I should be alone, actually. I shouldn't meditate with a group. I think in the bigger cities now, there's a fad where you have a group meditation. I should be alone in my meditation, and I should be doing that regularly and sincerely, not just because I have to. I should understand also, that is where Jnana Yoga comes in. I should understand why I need to be doing meditation. And we continue in the next verse that Lord Krishna tells to Arjuna. Shucho deshe pratishtapya stiramasanamatmanaha natyuchritam nati nicham chailajina kushotaram. Once these life practices are made a habit, then the sadhak sits for meditation. But how does that sadhak sit? Well, the process is described. First, we should have a clean area. External conditions very much have a very profound effect on the mind. That area should be clean, so clean that you could eat off of the floor. That's how clean it should be. And the time that we choose. We shouldn't choose the time during just before lunchtime when the entire family is coming out and looking for food and pots are banging and clinging. Wake up earlier before the family will wake up. So choose a quiet time. Really and truly, that real tranquility exists within ourselves, but that space psychologically helps that sadhak. So we should choose a quiet time, choose a quiet room also, a special place, and you should go back there each time. There should be some routine that is made, so each time we go back there. That asana should be comfortable, not too high, not too low, sturdy, thin, flat cushion, blanket, kusha grass, and deerskin is what Bhagwan tells, or a chair if we have to. So we should be comfortable. And we sit very steadily. Don't move back and forth and adjust this way and that. Sit steady. And our posture, our back, head, neck should all be in a straight line. They should be erect. Don't lie down on the bed with your eyes closed just before bedtime and say, I'm going into meditation now. Then you go into samadhi. You go into deep sleep instead. We should be sitting upright. Our hands are resting on our knees or our fingers very gently interlocked. And if we need another device to assist us in meditation, you can have an image in front of you of the Lord, of Om, of a diya, a light, anything that is there in front, anything to withdraw the senses. So we can add flowers, incense to bring all our sense organs into focus. And when should it be done? Preferably after a bath. Right? Cleanliness outside and inside, physically, all of these things aid in our sadhana. Our eyes should be closed. However, if our mind is distracted, which it will happen because that is the nature of the mind, then we can open our mind and focus it on the altar. In meditation, we withdraw the attention from the external to the body, from the body to the breath, from the breath to the mind, from the mind to the intellect, and then through the contemplation on the self, then we discover our true nature as consciousness. Right? So we distract. If our mind is so distracted, we change our thoughts in one direction. And we can punish that uncooperative mind. If you're doing japa, and then on the 107th bead, then our mind wanders and we said, nope, I'm starting back again. And we start back at 1. Just like how we would watch that, punish that naughty child, but we are sakshi. We are just witness to that naughty child. We let that child do whatever is supposed to, whatever consequences need to be paid, that child will do it. But we just watch from afar, knowing that that child will benefit from it in the future. And the types of meditation. Now we conclude to the final slide, which was actually our first slide. So we have external to the body. We listen to sounds. We massage our entire body, beginning with our toes all the way up to the top of our head. And we massage its muscle to relax the body so the body does not become an impediment to our meditation, our practice of it. Then we watch the breath. No more than 4 seconds should we hold. If you hold more than 4 seconds, then you need to be in that sampradaya. Then your chakras will start moving and all. You need to find a guru if you're more than 4 seconds. So 4 seconds breathing in, holding that breath for 4 seconds and releasing that breath for 4 seconds. No more than that, unless you go to an ashrama with a guru who can guide you through that. Then that breath to mind, that thought parade, watching those thoughts go past and just letting those thoughts be. Do not engage. Do not try to remove those thoughts or release those thoughts, anything. You just watch the thoughts go by. And then mind to intellect, that manasa japa. And then eventually that thoughtless state. Now, of course, this will not conclude in any one sitting. It will take many sittings, many different lifetimes and all to reach this state. But the regular and sincere practice is very much key to the success of this. And it's we use our karma, we do action up until a certain point. Like we take the elevator up to the top floor. But when we reach the top floor, we have to leave the elevator behind to walk to our destination. So we use these sadhanas, we use these actions, these karmas to reach a certain point until we get to that thoughtless state. Then that happens naturally. That merging happens very naturally and authentically. We don't need to do anything to reach that state of unification. So here I will bring us to a close, the session to a close. I know it was a little bit quick, but the main thoughts are there, the main points are there for you to take them and practice them on a daily basis. Now, daily, we say there's a certain amount of time that we meditate. However, actually, every second we should be so aware of that mind, so aware of that body, so aware of that breath, that every second is actually a type of meditation that we are practicing. All right, so now I will say a closing prayer, and I hope you all will enjoy the rest of today's sessions.
Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shri Sadgurunath Maharaj Ki Jai. Hari Om everyone, and thank you for having me today.
Thank you very much, Kratika ji. It was so much informative. I guess nothing more could have been done in 15 minutes what you did. It's a crash course on meditation, and you started from very foundation. You even took time to make people understand the meaning of word yuj and yoga. From there, you started to the highest realms of yoga, thoughtlessness. So it is a small crash course on yoga. Certainly will be inspiring many people from different parts of the world. So blessed to have you here, and thank you very much for guiding us.
Thank you, Doctor. Hari Om.
On behalf of United Consciousness, I thank Brahmacharini Kritika Chaitanya for coming onto the platform of United Consciousness. Thank you so much. Our next performance is Hula Dance from Hawaii Islands. It is the storytelling dance paired with chants or contemporary music, slow and sentimental in tempo or fast and energetic. Hula animates history in genealogy, prophecy, and the tales of those who came before. Our performance, Gail Elena Roberts, is a well-known Italian hula dancer. She leads the Italian branch of the International Hula School. She has been following the teachings of ancient and modern hula from her master, Kelly Johanna, for 23 years. Gail Elena remains actively involved in the Paris branch of school, continuing to study and make presentations with them in France, Hawaii, and abroad. In 2007, Gail Elena received the consent from a hula master to teach authentic Hawaii hula in Italy. Gail Elena Roberts is the only teacher in Italy with the consent from her master. So please applaud for Gail Elena Roberts for her performance.
Aloha and greetings to United Consciousness International Yoga Week 2022. Our traditional Hawaiian dance school, Hala Hula o Manoa Italia, is pleased to present a favorite hula, Haole Hula. This song, Haole Hula, was composed in 1927 by Alex Anderson. Our choreography was created by our hula master, Kilohana Silv, here in Italy in 2011. We perform it for you here today at the Maxi Museum of 20th Century Art in Rome.
From afar, they know when Liliue makes you sway in the moonlight. I know the reason why they're away, haunts you so. When I hear the strains of sea, all echoing and stealing from a far-off guitar, they may know when Liliue makes you sway in the moonlight. I know the reason why they're away, haunts you so. The lovely blue of sky and the sapphire ocean, the flashing white of clouds and the waves forming crests, the many shades of green to the mountains and all the brightest hues of the rainbow will rest. I hear the swish of rain as it sweeps down hear the song of wind as it sighs through the trees. I hear the crash of waves on the rocks and the beaches. I hear the hissing surf and the boom of the sea. I love to dance and sing of the charms of Hawaii, and from a joyful heart sing aloha to you. In every note I'll tell of the spell of my island, for then I know that you'll be in love with them too. I love to dance and sing of the charms of Hawaii, and from a joyful heart sing aloha to you. In every note I'll tell of the spell of my islands, for then I know that you'll be in love with them too. For then I know that you'll be in love with them too.
Ms. Galia Elema Roberts for a beautiful performance of hula dance. Thank you so much, Gail Elema.
सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्।
This shloka means, may everyone be happy, may everyone be free from all diseases, may everyone see goodness and auspiciousness in everything, may none be unhappy or distressed. Om Shantihi, Shantihi, Shantihi. I am highly privileged to have this opportunity to present my gratitude to all those who have witnessed and blessed this event directly or indirectly. I believe that this is not the end, but the beginning of our journeys. The journeys towards the noble cause of removing the 14 divides rooted in human race and promoting harmonious and peaceful coexistence. Firstly, I thank the God for blessing us all. I thank European Yoga Federations, thank the Spiritual Council in Africa. I am also very thankful for Yoga Vidya, Germany, Yoga Lam, Russia, Siddhashram, Turkey, Nidra Consciousness, France, Yoga Yogismo, South America, AAYT, Australia, World Movement for Yoga and Ayurveda, Italy, CUIDY, Italy, the World Community of Indian Culture and Tradition Disciplines, Italy. I owe my heartfelt thanks to our esteemed chief guest, Dr. Hansaji Yogendra, Director, Yoga Institute, Mumbai, for sparing her valuable time from a busy schedule for the event of United Consciousness. I extend my heartfelt thanks to our speakers, Mr. Rajesh Rabindranath, Dr. Valdemar Parado, Dr. Marshall Olal Johnson. I am very thankful to our esteemed panelists, Yogi Eric Mancues, Ms. Sanita Selena, Ms. Alejandra Gudelman, Dr. Wai Cheng Lee. I'm also thankful to our yoga and meditation experts, Ms. Laura Morales and Brahmacharani Kritika Chaitanya. I am thankful to our dance and music performers. I owe my heartfelt thanks to Team Project Surf USA, Shri Rajesh Rabindranath, Ms. Pavitra Srinivasan, Ms. Madhurika Arvind, Ms. Rashmi Kashi, Dr. Prasad Akavu, Dr. Vijay Reddy, Ms. Gina Suresh, Mr. Kartik Palamalai, Mr. K.L. Alexander, Mr. Venkat Sriram Lalu, Ms. Deepthi Nair, Ms. Avneet Bad, Mr. Suresh, Mr. Devaraju, Ms. Deepa Arun. I thank Team Project Surf Bharat, Dr. Vikrant Singh Tomar, Dr. Shweta Tomar, Aditi Meghna Mausan Prachi, Mr. J.S. Juneja, Dr. Paramji Juneja, Rishi Vishalji Arnav, Aditya Ashwin, Rati Dharmendraji Uday, Poojaji Bhartiji, Diptiji, Amrishji, Mrinalniji, Khushbuji, Jimmyji, Mr. Sanjay Rajput, Ms. Simran Reel. I am also very grateful for our new members in the team of United Consciousness, Ms. Aishwarya, Ms. Priyanka and Mr. Prakash Tyagi. I am very much thankful to our wonderful audience and all the visible and invisible sources blessing us.